time. Yeah, scheduled to start at 7, but you're welcome to start early. Yes, yeah, we're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Heart Center Tarot. As always, my name is Marina, and I will be your guide for this portion of the journey. So, at this point, only I will. It's Wednesday. So, it
You're cutting off. Oh, you're muted.
go. So, as always, will be astrology, but here it is Thursday. Doing this on Thursday because yesterday a technology god decided that it's not a good time for us to do a live show all about Virgo. So we had to postpone it till today. So here we are. We're a little early, and I have here John from Massalia Astro Tarot. So say hi, John.
Hi.
Hey, John.
Hello.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Is it still choppy?
Uh-oh.
I
Hear me?
oh God.
Little, little bit of a delay there. Hi, Louisa. Okay, so say in and out.
Yeah, it's really choppy. Like I'm missing a whole parts that
Are you
what
there?
you're saying.
Yeah. What? We're gonna try to plow through. Um, and yeah, and the same thing to me on your end. So
Uh,
I'm hoping that this clears. It did pendulum. It did say it was going to be fine. So we'll hope that that's exactly so. Um, Louisa, you can you problems with volume? Just hoping Louisa will respond. Okay, nothing so far. Okay, well, all right, it's got, but I generally. Okay, hard to hear audio. Okay. I'm going to make sure my speakers. Tell me if that's any better, Louisa. How's the sound on your end?
well, it was fine, but then it cut off like quite quickly.
Hi, Amy's smiling.
Oh,
Did it? All right. Um, yeah, Amy having the my end and it kind of cutting. Okay, Louisa says the sound is a little better, so hopefully that will stay with us. And, hmm. All right. Well, I want to get started, John. Let's let's start. And if you see me waving like this, your
Uh-huh.
choppy can't hear you. As long as I don't do that, just keep
Okay.
talking.
Okay. Like right now you're frozen, so you keep like having your arms in
Did
the
you
air.
hear? No. Oh, Lord.
Okay, now yeah, you're in a different pose. Okay, so
my arms are in the air, I'm
well,
talking.
oh my god.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah. Well, let's give it a try. Hey, Teresa Levine.
hi.
Yeah,
Okay. You want me to
yeah.
start?
You guys that are in the chat here with us, thank you for being here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So, okay. So so today is all about the sign of Virgo. So, if we remember the last podcast that we had last week, we were telling about Leo's um, grand spectacle and their way of showing off to people that was daunting at first, but they had to do it in a way that is comfortable. But then now we're arriving to Virgo. Leo's show is coming to a close. The audience is getting tired of all the prancing and ostentatious swagger and start complaining about the egotistical display of the lion. The flamboyant actor tries more dazzling pirouettes, but the attendees are leaving the premise as the curtain falls before Leo's befuddled face. So enters Virgo, the humble janitor with his trusty mop and soapy bucket at the ready. He hands out a broom to the lone performer and says, "It's time to work." So with Virgo, we learn that the way of expressing ourselves, it's not only by letting our creative juices flow through happiness, our own happiness like in Leo, but also by being useful to society. With the maiden, we now understand how obnoxious and overbearing we become if we only prioritize ourselves as the sole benefactor of love and attention. This is the dark side of Leo. Now, Virgo is here to ground us to reality and turn our attention to becoming diligent through daily efforts and tasks. The fragile, burgeoning ego of Leo slowly transforms into self conscious criticism, attention to details, self discipline, etc. So, no more feathered boas, sequins, or extravagant makeup here. We need to learn humility and service here. So, as we are about to close the first half of the zodiac wheel, as described here, so notice that Virgo is the last sign in the final stage of personal development, the first half of the zodiac here. And it is all about personal development and becoming autonomous and honoring daily tasks in this sign. So that could be bathing, getting dressed, walking to school, paying taxes, buying food and clothes for our kids, etc. Those are all the responsibilities that needs to be acknowledged by that earth sign. So, by doing all that, there is also a great deal of anxiety building up by coming to terms with juggling all those chores. with a growing fear of not being able to fulfill all the requirements. So, to avoid being overwhelmed by this very fear, Virgo tries to direct their attention to details as to get the maximum control over their environment. So, the worst thing to happen now to Virgo is to make mistakes, since that would not be being enough or perfect to their eyes. Ensue a precarious battle between control and letting go of its ties to the material world. So, again, with Virgo here, it is all about details and how we deal with our personal responsibilities with the material world, the day to day life. So, expect Virgo to be very industrious and focused on fulfilling service. So, it could be personal grooming, but also service to others. That is the lesson that Virgo teaches us. So, sorry, symbolically, the sign of Virgo could be depicted as a wheat field being harvested in
Okay.
late summer. Yep, can you hear me well? Are you okay, Marina? Marina?
Yes.
Okay, I can continue?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as I said,
Why
symbolically,
do
this.
you ask?
Oh, because you were like mumbling something. I just heard your voice
Can
and
you
I
hear
was like,
me?
oh, she may want to interject or something.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's still quite choppy on your end. How's me?
Oh. No. 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 I've been. I was sending out a text.
Okay.
Maybe the sound from the phone might have come through or whatnot, but and yeah, our times are cutting out. But you know what? Let's just plow through it. Let's just plow through it
Okay.
and crossing fingers.
Okay, let me know if it's really bad. So, like I said, symbolically, the sign of Virgo could be depicted as a wheat field
Okay,
being
go
harvested in late summer
ahead.
by the local farmers. The golden ears of wheat heavily curved downward, stuffed with all the nutrients the sun and rainwater have provided over the past months. The harvest is gathered neatly into an old mill, well, where it'll be stocked and eventually transformed into flour whose utility knows no bounds. Devoid of grain, the virgin earth start to recuperate for the next seeding period. So, like the sign of Gemini, Virgo's ruling planet is Mercury, the planet of communication and reasoning. But there is a real big difference in the way this planet operates in those two signs, Gemini and Virgo. So while Gemini is responsible for gathering new information, Virgo's task is to assimilate, digest, and organize said data so that it can be used in a concrete way. It is less of a spontaneous act and more of a time consuming and labor intensive project, meaning that Mercury in Virgo mostly speaks about details and what we are preoccupied about. The intellect here is known for its analytical power rather than its quick witted qualities stemming from Gemini. So that's the big difference between Gemini and Virgo, where Mercury is operating. So, as mentioned before,
Yeah.
Virgo is a mutable earth sign, meaning that it is tasked to purify the material plane of consciousness to be ready to meet the other self in Libra. In other words, the maiden needs to pay attention to their own personality and refine it as much as she possibly can to become physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually attractive in the sign of the scales, Libra. As Virgo closes off the first half of the zodiac, speaking about personal evolution, this is the last time the attention is solely devoted to navel gazing here. And by being a mutable sign, this also means that it is slowly shifting towards the collective. So you can understand that this task can be daunting at times because we're on the brink of moving towards the collective with Libra, but we're still working on the self. So this is the last time to perfecting the body, mind, and spirit to become truly, I would say, useful and devoted to what we can do on the real material plane. So, yeah, since it can be daunting at times, people with plenty of planetary placements in Virgo can feel incredible amounts of pressure and usually put some more onto their shoulders as day goes by. So, Virgo's gaze can therefore be surprisingly discerning and detail oriented, as they can find faults where most people don't. What's most dramatic with that sign is its ability to completely let go of their persnickety attitude at times and become everything opposite to its usual self. So remember, with mutable signs, we got two different opposing sides to each sign. So that would be Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. There's a similar pattern that occurs within air signs also. But as with mutable signs, there are two different distinct opposition here. So Virgo can really alternate between those two stances. The usual one that we all know about is what I call the wise one, the wise side of Virgo. This is the organized, really neat, persnickety side of Virgo that wants to be into the controlling aspect of the sign. But there's also the mad side. They can be seen as chaotic, daredevil, and uninhibited. So I've seen some Virgos who can exemplify more of the, I would say, unhinged, natural characteristics of of Virgo in general. So they're more akin to maybe Pisces, the opposite sign, than true Virgos at time, and they can really have this devil may care attitude, lackadaisical, yeah, personality that doesn't necessarily fit as the typical Virgo, but they will yeah, they will plow through life with remarkable energy that is often not associated with some Virgos, and they will really seem scattered, not unlike Gemini. So those two sides of Virgo can be readily seen between those two patterns. And I would say also
Mm-hmm.
that those two patterns can alternate within one individual. So maybe on one side, you can be really devoted. A Virgo can be really devoted to their work, but afterwards, to let out the steam, they can be completely unhinged, completely unbridled, and go wild on the dance floor after work, for example. So yeah, So one individual, one Virgo, could also be like this wild facade, and then afterwards revert back to the wise persona that they've created. So as for career, Virgo are typically centered around jobs where service and attention to detail is paramount. So this sign is usually happy with work environments that allow them to prove their worth and help others improve in some ways. So, like I've depicted here, there's a lot of precision making involved with this sign, especially in their work. And this is also the sign of work in general, the day to day work, the day to day job. So, again, they will put a lot of their identity into what they do, usually. So they can go to something that will allow them to prove their worth and help others improve in some way. Could be their environment too. So the medical field is generally a great fit for Virgo people since this sign is associated with health in general. Most hard science jobs are also a good alternative, such as microbiology, chemistry, food preservation, etc. Anything that revolves around research and look at analyzing and having this really keen eye for details. That is really crucial to take into account because Virgos are all about the details. This is the
Yeah.
digestive, analytical mind that is all about picking up tiny little um, granular details and put them up such organized way that pretty much any other sign could be like unable to do. So again, other signs, other work environment that Virgo could be associated
Mm-hmm.
with could be with their fine motor skills and crafting in general. So some people could also enjoy working with their hands and end up becoming, I don't know, sculptors, seamstresses, knitters, potters, etc. That could be really associated with traditional crafts. So that could be an avenue. And finally, any jobs that cater to their methodical side is also
Mm-hmm.
great for them. So there is I've just did a small sample of them. So
Right.
secretary, librarian, clerks of all kind, housekeeper, janitor, nutritionist, waiter, accountant. So all about the minute details, paying attention to some crucial things. And usually Virgo are not shy of implementing some routine and sticking to it. But there's also a dark side of Virgo, and it is their increasing fear of failure when stress ramps up while feeling like they are losing control over whatever they have set their mind into. During those troubling episodes, Virgo people becomes tense, irritable, and even panicky. Any annoyance or disturbance in their environment morph into a threat to their world well-being and is usually followed by insensitive criticism or sarcasm, sorry, from their part. So in fact, Virgo people can utter the most biting and cruel remarks once they are getting worked up enough. It is quite like their nerves
Mm-hmm.
are so worked up, they're so tense that the only way to relieve the tension is to have this kind of biting
Yeah.
comment. It's like a an exit door of some form to them, and it is unfortunately the only way sometimes they have found to communicate their anguish to others once the pain has become unbearable. Some people often assume that this sign can be orderly to a fault or a clean freak, but their true neurosis lies in their inability to see their world perfect the way it is. So they have this kind of ideal world or ideal views that they uphold inside their head. And if they are too attached to this kind of idealistic views, those idealistic views, they become dissatisfied and constantly seeking a way to improve themselves and other in a way that is unrealistic. And that builds up over time to the point of being overly stressed out and exhausted.
No.
So their constant need to see themselves as a work in progress is often projected onto their environment, which get the same harsh treatment. Some Virgos cannot deal with this amount of pressure and resort to embracing a
Yeah.
disorderly lifestyle and befitting their mad stance, the mad Virgo that I've talked about, during which they cope with stress by trying not to care about responsibilities and let their repressed cravings take the upper hand. So, yeah, they just become unhinged, like I said before, because this is too much. There's too much pressure, and they just have to let this kind of the steam let out. This is the only way. So, the life mission of Virgo is to learn to work in tandem with life as to seek true perfection by letting go of their false sense of rightness and getting in touch with the natural flow of life.
Following.
Virgo people understand how to work alongside the original course of events and not against the grain. Consequently, the maiden relaxes their own internal standards and become adaptable, joyful, and easily satisfied. Integrating the good qualities of the opposing sign of Pisces can help in developing compassion and intuit what is truly needed at any given time. No longer it is needed to go against all odds and strive for perfection, since the internal barometer has shifted from critical judgment to intuition. At its best, Virgo is perfectly in sync with its environment and instinctively aware of every subtle changes. By embracing that state, people with lots of Virgo in their charts become graceful in every sense of the word. They sway and shift their mind to what is essential to the here and now without letting their fear of chaos getting the best of them. They naturally understand their role as an element of change and do not question their ability to fit into it. So, yeah, definitely. When Virgo let go of their internal defense mechanism of being always this kind of self righteous and um, idealistic person that needs to set up these high standard for themselves and in also their environment, they become less tense and less obligated to comply to their own superego. Their own way of dealing with stress becomes um, less apparent, and they just become more embracing of what life can give them. So anything that could be perceived as a flaw within themselves or within others or the environment become appreciated. Oh, this is like serendipity. So it's like fortuitous for them. They learn to deal with their environment on as they go, as it is always like life's planned to be. So there's no real attachment to their own mindset, their own way of doing things, that it's overly rigid and unadaptable, to say the least. So they're more swaying like the real um like the real person that they are. They have to become this mutable sign of change instead of this rigid and um yeah, unadaptable sign that is, this isn't themselves. This is not them. So in relationships, Virgos are not known to be very demonstrative and may like for the partner to take the lead romantically. Yeah, this is the Virgos are not really, I would say, open to intimacy in general, because there is fear, overlying fear of being judged, because they are so self-critical of themselves. If they think they will open their heart, they will may be met with some criticism. So that is difficult to accept. That perception can block them for meeting
Mhm.
with people in general, at least romantically. So yeah, this sign can be hard to crack since they are not so comfortable with their emotional side. Yeah, this is Mercury we're talking about, so it's all mental. So it may take a while to build a sense of trust around that area.
Mhm.
So once they are comfortable, some may come as a surprise that they like, well, sex to be quite spicy, since they can be
Yep.
quite tactile and physical. And you know about the wise and mad Virgo that I've talked about over and over again. Yeah, well, this is an area that where Virgo can express their mad side more readily. Yeah, definitely. So, however, since this sign is associated with hygiene and neatness in general, I suspect most of them fancy something more tidy and less adventurous. But you have to see the whole chart to say more about that. So, any planets that falls into Virgo will need to be refined and manifested as a more complex level. Oh, here are the association before. Yeah, the association with Virgo, I would say that it can be quite um, similar to Gemini because they share Mercury as a planet. So Mercury as a metal is here, the same. Some gems can be similar, some
Mhm.
colors. Every colors that Virgo could wear also either as a good luck charm or either just as a positive like bolster. Every like either neutral colors or darker colors can also suit them very well because Virgo likes to be taken seriously. They like to be known for their efficiency and yeah, definitely some colors on the more darker side, like indigo, navy blue, violet, or even gray sometimes can be really, yeah, can really make them look good in a way. Could be
Yep.
like accents of them. All the body parts here that are involved with Virgo. Remember, it's all about waking our way down from the head to the toes. So the zodiac man right now we're almost at the middle section here. So like you could see the abdomen, and like I've said before, Virgo deals with digestion, not only metaphysically but truly, like, yeah, physically. So the intestines especially are linked to Virgo's ability to assimilate, because when you think about it, the intestines are where all the transformation The
Right.
true transformation and the absorption of nutrients is dealt in the body. So that's why the intestines are so long. It takes a lot of time to assimilate, to digest, to transform all that energy to feed us. So that's why, um, like in the ailments and the illnesses that a Virgo can develop, anything related to, yeah, abdomen problems, the abdominal cavity can be a potential illness from Virgos because they can be so nervous and so their life can be so nerve wracking at times because they want that control in whatever they've set their mind into, that they can, yeah, ended up having some problems in that area. Also, since Virgo is associated
Mm-hmm.
with the end, especially in, well, to the northern hemisphere here, uh, Virgo is associated with harvest. The plants are mainly, again, all about the cereals. So, like I've said, like I've written here, cereals, millets, wheats. So everything that can be harvested, stored, transformed into flour of some kind. Yeah, definitely. So it's only a sample of them. Uh yeah, and for the as for the occupation, I've written a little bit more about here. Yeah, some of them seems to be a little bit of the same that I've said before, but Virgo, interestingly enough, rules over small domestic animals. So could be a dog, could be a cat, could be a hamster, could be any pets that you think, that any animal that you could easily associate with pets can be ruled by Virgo. So that's why animal workers in general, working at a pet store, a trainer, yeah, that's another side of Virgo that could be exploited.
Perfect. Perfect. My
So,
father was a Virgo, and he was
oh,
a master machinist. So,
oh, yeah,
yeah, when you're talking about precision,
oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Virgos are excellent,
Absolutely.
excellent in dealing with everything tiny. Like they have this microscope
Mm-hmm.
gear inside their minds. It's absolutely
Yeah.
phenomenal. It is. And
Yeah.
that's why also sometimes we can see Virgo in like psychology or things like social studies, but they will always have this outlook on specific topics that they want to look into.
Yeah.
And they have this really like I said, granular um approach that is really interesting because they
Yes.
know how to deal with details. It is like baffling
Yes.
to the other signs. So again, like I've said
Yeah.
before, I was about to speak about it before I've looked into the association slide. So any planets that falls into Virgo will need to be refined and manifested as a more complex level than most other zodiac signs. There might be a difficulty expressing
Right.
some more overt qualities since this sign is very self conscious. So, again, the planets will be
Mm.
affected by that nature. So, failure to express planets in a healthy
Yeah.
way in that sign may result in chronic anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder of some kind, mental fatigue, or digestive issues.
Yeah.
So, like you can see here, the sun in Virgo. So the sun, like I always say, is all about our identity. Identity. So the identity here
Yeah.
is tied to perfectionism. There's a need here to provide service in order to shine, to be noticed. Suns and Virgos are all about manifesting the self through service. And that can be difficult at first since the sun here, the sun is all about me, me, me. The sun is the rule of Leo. So yeah, it's like turn down your ego and transform it, refine it, so that it can be of service to others. Like I said in my intro, you cannot be this kind of superstar or act like you own the place. You need to be more humble. So they feel
Yeah.
alive when they are being useful and diligent. Yeah, this is the sun in Virgo.
Mm-hmm.
The moon in Virgo here,
Yeah.
the emotional security, the moon, is tied to anxiety and orderliness. So the moon in Virgo, that is my dad, they cannot stand chaos or uncertainty. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
This will drive them mad.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, definitely the moon in Virgo here can be prone to a lot of anxiety when everything is not perfect or they've attached their mind to some kind of this should be like that, some kind of ideal,
Mm-hmm.
while the moon become a source of stress and they've become anxious. So they're really, really prone to be um, addicted to have their ways, like their tiny ways, tiny details, and some kind of routine. This should be like that. And if the routine is disturbed, it's like, oh my God. it's There can be easily like swayed into having anxiety and negative thoughts. Yeah, this moon can be really hard emotionally because yeah, they're really prone to unpleasant anxiety and stress, but they can nurture others by being of service. Definitely. This is the moon that will take time to care for others in a practical way. Definitely. Mercury in Virgo here. Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, as I've stated before. So, double whammy here. Very strong. I think you've had that, Marina. That's one of your placements. So, yeah, definitely here. If you got Mercury in Virgo, Mercury here is strong. It's in its turf. It's like this is my. So it needs to be directed properly. The energy of Mercury needs to be expressed properly, healthily. If not, it's going to be hectic. So very critical and analytical mind, usually very sharp mind. I know a lot of people with Mercury in Virgo that worked like the aforementioned like work or
Yeah.
profession that I've stated before, they have laser sharp focus. They can like have this focus of attention that is unparalleled by other signs. This is very good for research, academic in general, because especially in the higher tier of academy, you need to do a lot of research. You need to have to boost your analytical critical mind, so to not get overly into generalities and overly like yeah, anyone could say that. You need to be really concise, clear. So that's why it can be linked with Mercury and Virgo here, and their interests are centered around working, pets, schedule, daily tasks. This is a very anxious mind, also, like always having something in mind. The little hamster is always running. I need to do that. Oh, have I thought about that? Oh, it's there's always this kind of mental agitation here, not unlike Mercury and Gemini, also. But here, the anxiety is more
Mm-hmm.
noticeable, I would say, than in Gemini. Gemini will transform its anxiety into like excitement, where Mercury in Virgo will
Mm-hmm.
truly just be anxious when they're not well.
Right.
So Venus in Virgo here, yeah, they like to organize data. I've
Yeah.
seen a couple of Venus in Virgos. Venus is all about our likes and dislikes. How do we, yeah, that's what I like. That's what I don't like. So they like order. and they just like to just organize things. They're seduced by intellectual conversations, definitely. Like in, again, like Venus and Gemini, the same. They
Mhm.
can be prude and shy in romance and sex. They can take time to warm up, being intimate. This is not, Venus here is not comfortable. This is not a sign where Venus is like, oh, let's do it all the way. It's like, no, let's do it like slowly with reserved. Let's do it like neatly. It needs to be refined. It needs to be like, and they can be very particular about people they like. I've seen people with displacement who like. I, I remember one person that thought me that she liked a guy that had like this kind of angular calves, and she really stuck with that kind of feature, bodily feature of that guy. And she said that it was over since she broke up with this guy. And she said to me that she couldn't ever have this kind of um, particular feature again with other guys. Yeah, so Venus and Virgo can really stick their mind and their liking into really tiny details on the body of their partner sometimes, or a quirk of their mind, or something of detail again. And Mars in Virgo here, this is a really interesting placement. So, Mars is our capacity to get into action and asserting ourselves. So here, Mars is motivated by work, especially sorting details. So Mars can be really prompt, compelled to like work, 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 work. This placement here can, if not careful, be prone to burnouts, being workaholic. If there's nothing or nothing else in the
Mhm.
whole chart that can prevent that, yeah, definitely here, Mars can overwork themselves here because they're so, Virgo makes Mars so dedicated to having the right outlook set of mind. It's like, yeah. So there's definitely here an ability to be both efficient because of Mars that wants to get things done and detail oriented from Virgo.
Mhm.
So that's a good one. But yeah, there's kind of the anger here because Mars is all about anger also. There's the nervous anger that builds up over time. It's like a kettle here. So yeah, they can blow a gasket and they'll
Mhm.
be like very sharp and very unexpected because they want to being proper here. Virgo wants appropriatedness. So it kind of censor
Yeah.
Mars in some way. So yeah, they can be quite like critical in the way they speak at times when they're stressed and like, no, this is not how it should be, and they can be a little bit passive aggressive at times. But incredible work
Mhm.
ethics here. So
Yeah.
examples of celebrities with
Yeah.
dominant Virgo in their chart are American businesswoman and celebrity chef Rachel Ray. Here you can see I don't there's 15 points out of
Mhm.
20 in Virgo here.
Yeah.
This is absolutely maddening. There's
Yeah.
so much Virgo. So again, Virgo
Yeah.
is interesting here because I would say that you wouldn't necessarily associate a celebrity like with that sign, but
Mhm.
if their Virgo is prone to working so hard and being so dedicated that yeah,
Yeah.
they can achieve so much and being noticed by others. So that's an example.
Absolutely.
American
Yeah.
actress and model Blake Lively. Here we can
Love
go
it.
and you can see
Okay.
again that's an other
Yeah,
whole
she's
other
got a
different
few.
chart. Yeah, she's got quite a few here. She's got 12 points up out of 20. That's a considerable amount. But here her
Mm-hmm.
chart is a lot more, I would
Yeah.
say, harmonious, interestingly enough. Then you've got
Mm-hmm.
the son of director Francis Coppola, Giancarlo Coppola.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So again, lots of
Um. Yeah.
yep. So again, there's so
I was gonna
much
say.
Virgo here. You were going to say something?
I was gonna say. Yeah. Yeah. Francis Ford Coppola. Yeah.
Yeah. Um American filmmaker Ethan
Yes.
Cohen.
Okay.
Uh this one has lots. There's a heck of a title here. Youngest grandchild of King George
Mm.
the Fifth and Queen Mary, Richard, Duke of Gloucester. Not sure how to pronounce that.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Perfectly. Yeah.
And the last one, American
Mm.
intelligence officer and former CIA director Gina Haspel.
Wow. Smart girl.
So yeah,
Smart girl, and it's
Virgo
got things.
things. You said,
Mm. Oh, she's got things. Um, very compact there in that just
oh yeah, yeah. We call this a
one little
bundle.
section.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, her
Yeah.
her chart, her pattern is a little bit different because of Mars here, but still, there's a lot of her planets here that are really, really compacted. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
Virgo
Exactly. Yeah,
in a
that's the
nutshell.
word. Compact.
So yeah, Virgos are
Excellent.
really
Excellent. You're,
are really like commanding in the way they put their attention into work, into details. They're like a
yeah.
dynamo if they're not like held onto place sometime.
Hmm. Yeah. Totally. And yeah, there was one of the things that I really valued about my father was if you if you really wanted to get him riled up, you would tell him that a measurement he took is wrong, or you would tell him that whatever idea he has is not going to work.
Mm,
That would drive him insane
yeah.
because he was so precise. And there was he had his own business for years, and people would come to him and say, all the engineers said this can't be done. Someone said
Mm,
talk to you and you might be able to do it. Look at the blueprint and go, they don't know what they're talking about. Of course we can do it. We do it like this. And boom, it would.
yeah.
Yeah, very, very, very good at that. Very, very keen eye for, yeah. Was
Mm,
and he
yeah.
would tell you at the start, okay, your king is going to be here, and your queen is going to be here when I. So I'm very, very strong
It's a shame that we got all those cuttings here because
knowledge.
I'm
And
sure
I
that your
wanted to share
story.
one of the comments that
Oh, yeah.
was made. Mm, yeah, we got some good comments. Where I have to go further up a little bit. Oh, Spiritual Rain made a comment that um, they were super interested in the body parts associated with the sun signs. And I said, well, John does one of these for each sign. So go check out some of the other videos. And Teresa responded to Spiritual Rain and said, John gives so much information and different than I've ever heard before.
Oh, thank you so
So,
much.
yeah, kudos to you. Yeah. And very, very true. And I've said this, to you several times, and even to the people who stop by and visit. That yeah, the wealth of information that you have is astounding, and the fact that you can put it together in such a way that even someone who has no real knowledge of astrology can follow what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you're not talking any, oh, above somebody's head. And that is very, very, very useful, very appreciative. And
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. So for those of you that are here in the chat, check out in the description, and you'll see the other signs that were Wednesday is going to be Libra, which is truly, so I'm looking forward to um, by the 21st we will have finished, and yeah, Pisces will be the last. I've got them now. I have to get rid of a bit of candy. Description I have listed below John's channel, a link to his channel. Please and subscribe to his channel. Okay. And he and the tarot. So get to subscribe and like on this channel. It's very much, and nations are whenever you feel so inclined. So I have to tell you um, on the uh, yes, exactly, that's what it is. Just share on my channel. We are going to reschedule me being on her channel because there was I okay, then I'm not going to keep carrying on too long. Thank you, Sharon Sipe, for stopping by. Thank you. Everyone else, just look in the description. It'll give you some. And yeah, check Wednesday when we'll be doing. Thank you for being. Thank you.
Goodbye to everyone. See you later.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Bye, everyone. See you
Bye.
later.